So, what to say? We're going to talk about food and well-being. Food can definitely be created and experienced from very different dimensions. One being something that's prevalent a lot in the West these days. It was less prevalent in the past, and it's less prevalent in more less industrialized nations, and that would be eating from the heart and being guided as what to eat from the heart. And that level of intelligence that's in the heart is a much deeper and more profound and integrated level of intelligence that incorporates everything, including the mind. Whereas the danger that we have in the West, in the modern world, is there's so much, relating to, as what Tanya was saying, there's so much advice out there. There's so many opinions out there. We are inundated. And food, you know, unlike a subject like architecture, maybe not everyone has an opinion. But in terms of food, everyone has an opinion. As you know, quite often things are placed in the camp of what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad. But we all, as was mentioned earlier, we're all individuals. And the best thing for each of us to do is to learn and remember to follow our inner guidance, which is infinitely more precise than following a teacher's guidance outside of ourselves, or a book, or a philosophy, and it keeps us more alive. So that's one of the things that we're about at Wild Food Cafe. Apart from that, I would like to ask you a few questions to start off, and then Aiste will give a bit more of an introduction as to where we're at. My first question would be for all of you to think for a second and feel for a second and remember, what was the very, very, very first meal any of you ever had? And do you think that was a really tasty meal? Do you feel really nourished by that meal? You reckon it was given with unconditional joy and love in a totally infinite way? Does that tell us something about food? And then another question I could ask, why does food made by our beloveds seem to always nourish us at such a deeper level and taste so good?
So I'm going to say a few words about Food Cafe and Wild Juicery and what's really behind the story and behind the scenes. So really we created it as an oasis for high vibe oasis in London. And yes, we sell lots of raw food and we do lots of raw dishes, and we take extra care and go extra mile to source best ingredients and best supplies. But really, the secret behind Wild Food Cafe and Wild Juicery is high vibe. And the reason high vibe is the main reason, because true well-being comes from high vibe state. Food is secondary. And indigenous shamans teach that all the healing comes from distracting people from their thoughts, distracting people from the state where they feel bad and sick and ill. So what they do, they play music, they show you visuals, they heal with sounds and food, anything to distract the mind from feeling in a state of sickness or disease. So that the person that receives the healing can enter the high vibe state and the well-being comes through. So for us, food is really a disguise for the well-being to come through. And the way we do it in Wild Food Cafe, we do lots of different projects, like we teach well-being classes where we teach people a playful, spontaneous and intuitive approach to food and nutrition. What else? We do talks. We do celebrations, we invite people to play music, to enjoy food. We create crazy recipes with all the colors of the rainbow to just show people what's possible with nutrition. But really, it's to bring them to the place of joy and celebration when they eat the food. And I'm sure there are people here in the room that experienced it and can testify. And finally, it's really about being all-inclusive. So a lot of times people have different concepts and ideas of how they need to eat, how they need to behave. Sometimes people come to our food cafe having really strict rules about themselves and their diet. And what we trying to convey is that we're all inclusive. We don't even call ourselves vegetarian. Sure, we don't serve meat, but the whole point is to allow people to feel themselves and to experience nourishment without having to think whether it's raw, whether it's vegan, whether it's vegetarian, whether it's full of superfoods or whatever they have in the diet. And that makes people feel at ease with themselves. A lot of times people come to our food cafe and they just feel good. They feel better, they feel relaxed, and they feel nourished even without eating the meal. Sometimes they come to us and say, wow, I've been so stressed all day, I felt so bad, and now I'm here and I feel amazing. What did you do? And part of that is having a high vibe team. The team loves what they do, and they love the food that they make, and they love the customers that they serve, and it just perpetuates more of well-being. So that's the secret behind our passion and our dream, and that's what we like to do and share with the world more and more. And Joel will talk about our everyday business and also our vision, right?
Yep, thanks. So there's many things that inspired us to do it, but generally the two of us very much love and celebrate and appreciate life. And very often we feel extremely blessed with everything in our lives, including each other, and we did before we met each other. And we were inspired to find some way in which we could share and perpetuate this state of paradise which exists when we're in a high vibe state of celebration, when we're in a high vibe state of joy. How can we give back, give forward? We feel like we've received a great blessing. All of us feel like that whenever we feel in the zone, in the flow, time and space disappear, and magic happens. We all experience it at different times in our lives. We experience it more and more when we're children, when we're less crowded with the judgments of the world, and we're more present. So we wondered, how can we make an offering that is a testament to this? So I was reminded by a quote by Neem Karoli Baba, a great Indian guru. He's actually who Steve Jobs went to visit when he went to India. And he was also the teacher of Ram Dass, a great teacher from the 60s who wrote the biggest cult classic of the time, which was called Be Here Now. And when asked what is the easiest way to reach enlightenment and what is the highest yoga, he said, feed people. And obviously, feeding people is a multi-dimensional thing. It's much more than just the food we feed on a physical, nutritional level. Primarily and much more, in a much richer state and much more deeply and profoundly, we feed with our vibration, which comes in all different forms. All forms exist from a state of vibration. So really, having the opportunity of having a place in central London that can be an oasis, where we can feed people with much more than just food, and have food as it's kind of everything else is hiding behind the food, or the food is hiding behind everything else. By having that in London, felt like a great opportunity to be able to share that with the world. So that's our main reason behind doing it, and it's extremely satisfying. We have lots of challenges by doing it. We have challenges every day. It's a total joy for us to do, but every day opening a restaurant in central London without having a lot of restaurant experience, and it being considered the greatest financial depression of all times, it definitely always wasn't the easiest thing to be able to do a restaurant. And although we get amazing feedback day in, day out, hour after hour, with a team of 20 employees and a lot of people coming in every day, not everyone loves everything we do all the time. And we're very much naked, vulnerable, and on stage. If everyone who's been to the restaurant, they know it's an open plan kitchen. You can see everything that's going on. And that's another thing that it embodies the quality of openness. which is really a key to well-being and a key to enjoying life, whether it's in food or something else. So, going back to our question, time for our question. So, the question we'd love to ask is, what does the most ecstatic relationship with life look and feel like to you? Thanks for having us.